Are you going to finish this project?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Finish. It's all about progress. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's in the joy of the doing, not crossing the finish line. But a little bit of progress each day, you're going to hit the goal one time or another. So here we got the mini trike.
Yay.
That's right, mini trike. It's upside down, it's been turned all around. I got it all welded up. The rear debate with all the revisions, etc., has finally come to completion. So, one-wheel drive. Sorry, folks. I know a lot of fans were for the solid axle, but it didn't work out that way.
Where's your groovy gas tank?
We are going to get to the groovy gas tank in just a moment.
I'm a little ahead of myself.
So, yeah, I took this apart. I set this up for a jack shaft. That is this. So, there's a lot of questions about that. How are you going to get the chain over? So, this is not a drift trike. It's not a race machine. It's a simple cruiser. So, I'm confident that one-wheel drive with this jack shaft chain offset is going to be adequate. Will it corner one way better than the other? Yes. But this thing is pure show pony. That's right. Show pony.
Not to be confused with Sparkle Pony.
Well, I mean, they are almost one and the same. All fashion, less function. Here is the aforementioned special tank.
Ooh.
So when you last saw it, and I'll have Jamie insert a picture right there. So it's tack welded. This is 20 gauge sheet. Tack, 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 all day long. Not overheating it because we didn't want to warp this. So is it 100% sealed? I don't know. I have a bottle of tank sealer specially formulated for fuel tanks. So the last thing we have to do with this is put an inlet, which I like to call the gas hole. You have to create a gas hole and then an outlet. Why are you laughing? It's a technical term. So it goes in like that. And it goes in like that. So that doesn't leave a lot of room for the gas hole.
The gas hole.
It's a car guy joke. I knew you'd love that. First time here? First time you ever heard of that one?
The gas hole.
It's the joy of a 5-year-old marriage. We're still learning things about each other every day. So, being that this is a mini trike and not a road-going vehicle, that's a lot of fuel for a little engine.
I was going to say.
So I was thinking, why don't we just drop it asymmetrical right there? Maybe just a little higher up. Because, you know, like the Frisco chopper style tank with the outlet coming out of the top would look cool, but we're out of room. And being a coffin tank, it gets really small up there. So at this moment, I'm thinking, why not set this up right there? Bars won't foul it once you put a little stopper on it, and it'll be lower. But I think we should do that. I went to Carl's Hardware, shout out, and I just got some plumbing parts.
Did you ask them if they have gas holes available?
No, I just went to the gas hole section. You know, a little sign.
Oh, you know what? I think I saw
it looked a little
gas
like,
hole sign.
It looked a little like the Beetlejuice sign. It was like an arrow. It says gas holes here.
Oh,
we can go on. Let's not have too much fun with this.
Anyway.
So most of the pipe fittings I found were galvanized steel. Galvanized steel and fire stinks. In fact, it's poisonous. So I recommend staying away from that as much as possible. I found this brass fitting and just a plastic pipe cap. I thought, just like you'll see on some of the motocross bikes, I'm going to drill a hole right there, put a tiny little outlet vent tube right up over the bars, looks like a motorcycle, vents the tank, done deal. That'll seal it. You won't get a lot of splash factor because it'll be way up top. So we run that much fuel, right? What could possibly go wrong? Not much. And then we have the outlet. It's got to be a little dripper down there. It's only a mini bike gas tank. It's only a little mini bike engine. So I don't know. I'm going to gamble. I had some copper tube laying around here, but it seems to be lost in the move. I have this brake line. It is galvanized, but it's such a small piece of steel. It's not going to create a lot of fumes. I'm going to braze both of them. We have not brazed before. I know you're a chef.
I've brazed, yeah.
I know you're a chef. So what would your definition of brazing be?
Basically cooking it slowly.
This is not that simple. So there's different processes of joining metal. You could weld it, you could braze it, you could solder it. You know, you could solder this because it's brass to steel, but a brazing rod, this is my, while I'm setting this up, I'm just going to talk. This is my nerd welding school lesson of the day. So when you're welding, you're liquefying both surfaces. Typically, they're the same metal, even if they're not. Say bronze to steel, they'll both melt and join. Soldering, there's a word called capillary action. So all metal has a grain, right? So when you solder something, there's a degree of capillary action where the tin or lead, whatever you're soldering with, fuses into the grain of the metal. So brazing is somewhere more towards the soldering side of things. It's brass, it's a hotter temperature, and it comes in this cool little flux-coated welding rod that I'll show you. So yeah, there's different values. I find to braze brass or copper to steel is a lot easier than trying to tin the steel and get the lead to stick. Bottom line.
That was kind of super nerdy.
Hmm?
I fell asleep for a second.
And you went through nursing school. This is just welding theory. So I'm going to put that piece right there. And then the outlet can be kind of anywhere. I just hope we have enough flow. We might just test that. Let's test the flow potential, shall we? Cut off a little piece of that. Are we on?
Uh-huh.
Now this is about as technical as I can get. You see, that's a pretty small tube. But you consider that little engine, and it's not full race, it's not full throttle all the time, it's cruising around. So this is how I would check fuel delivery. That's a fair amount of fluid.
Yeah.
I think that could run that engine. That's going to be our outlet. Let's step over to the wire table. So with this, let's just do this for kicks. We don't want this to be coming, well, maybe we do, or do we want it like that? Nah, I think we get away with that. I was thinking, do we want this inlet to be vertical? But I think it's going to have visual controversy regarding this. So we're going to want to sink that in to the tank quite a bit. That's also going to help the splash factor. If this is, say this is the inner wall of the tank and it splashes, it has a better potential to come up and out the top. But if this is hanging down below, when the wave comes up, it's still going to rise up, but it doesn't have the same splash factor. Just my own personal experience. We're really talking a lot at the start of this video. Make one measurement. Couldn't be that 20 ounces of high-powered coffee I just chugged. So we're going to drop it into the tank 1 inch. So basically we're just going to hide those threads and the rest will show. And this will all get painted. Doesn't matter what material it is at this point, as long as it fastens. All right, so we got our innie, we got our outie. All right, we got our mark. I saw you looking at this the other day.
Uh-huh. It fascinates me. It looks like something an alien would have.
We're just going to call it a step drill for now. Yeah, so now we got these threads going. I'll be able to screw that down or thread it in and braze it, but there's a lot of metal shavings in there, so we're gonna do the bottom side. See all that metal here? Got to clear all that out. So we're gonna put that other piece right here, I believe, or you know it would look cool if we saw it coming out of the side. Yeah, it's outlaw biker stuff. Let's look at this engine and see what side the carburetor's on. All right, so on this, the carburetor's on the right side. My right, the rider's right. So let's put the outlet on the right side of the tank, not the wrong. Let's put that down low. Not gonna put it at the bottom because you know what happens when the outlet's at the bottom, don't you? What would you assume happens if the outlet's at the bottom?
I have no idea.
Whatever crud, it's not a perfect world.
Oh, that's true.
Whatever crud is in the bottom of the tank, you know, it's not a perfect world. It's going to clog that. So call it a sediment bowl. Yeah.
A lot of sediment in there.
So I'm going to pressurize this with some air.
You know what's weird? You want to hear something gross nurse stuff?
Yes.
So a lot of people get like sediment in their urine, and I always imagined that they had all that crud sitting at the bottom of their bladders.
Because they don't flush themselves daily with light beer. Told you it's not a perfect world. Do we dare bring out Mega Magnet? Let's bring out Little Magnet and see if we can't get some action with that. I'm not up for the challenge of wrestling Mega Magnet, so we're going to take one of its moons. This broke off when I threw it once. If these two ever get together in a non-gravity scenario, forget about it. So let's put that right there. See if we can attract some metal. Stop. We attracted it. There it is, right inside. Bada bing.
Genius.
Hey.
Fun with magnets.
Clink. I should not put that on my steel plate. This is where the OCD comes into play. Will I be able to walk away from this until it doesn't make a sound? Now we got it. There it is. Magnets. All right, I'm gonna get that settled right into place. I'm gonna do a quick fit on the chassis. Because once this is on, it's gonna be a real pain to get it unstuck. We'll be able to put a piece of steel in this while it's on the frame also. Just make sure the angle of the dangle is exactly what we want. And the height, we could always unthread it a little bit if we want it raised up. As I recall, I want to set that right down like that. That looks like a right angle. Just put it in place and see how it looks. Bring the cap. Yeah. Groovy. Discreet. To the one side. I'll just have to put a stop on those bars. Just a little bit, but I like it. That'll work. Let's braze. As I was saying, the brazing rod is a special deal. You've seen me use other welding rods that were just copper colored, even though they're steel, they're coated with copper. This has a, here I'm gonna hit it. See that white coming off?
Yeah.
That's flux. So this just melts. It actually becomes like an ugly shape surrounding it. That's kind of what flux core welding wire does as well. Shields the liquid metal from the atmosphere, making it pure.
You really paid attention in metal and welding in school, didn't you?
A plus average. Seriously, I would debate my teacher.
This is where Ian and I, we get along so well because we're both very, we got to get the best grades. We got to do the best.
Yep. So there's a number of different torches available for oxyacetylene. And I haven't plugged this company much. They were super cool in that they wanted me to try out their product. It's Flame Tech Scorpion. We'll get their little link hooked up. I've had this for a little bit over 2 years. And their stuff is a little bit dusty from my shop, but it works good. So there's 2 different styles of torch they sent me. One is this smaller one. You could use this great for brazing or welding steel. I kind of do everything lately with this cutting torch. That's because it's faster. This is such a simple join. All you need is heat. And unlike welding, you don't need a helmet. You only need some shaded goggles. Jamie, you won't need glasses because there's no arc, like an electric arc weld. It's just flame, and you're not looking at the liquid hot action. But I'll try to describe what's going on. So again, this is set up for cutting, so let me just see where these values are with the gas flow. I might have to get on the dials.
Is it gonna pop?
Sometimes. Not that time. But I could mess up and make it pop if you want, if that's really what you want. So there's different settings on the torch. Watch the cone in the center. See the blue?
Ooh.
So that is a very rich flame. There's a lot of acetylene there. You turn this back, get it blue, and you bring that tight right there. That's a neutral flame. Ready for it to hiss? That's an oxidizing flame. Too much oxygen. It's good for cutting, but it'll be messy. You want it right here. Neutral. Oxidizing. Sorry. That's a rich flame. Carburizing, I believe it's called. Neutral. There's a lot of heat for this operation. But what I'm going to do is just warm it up. Because the sheet metal is very thin, and then the brass is reasonably thick. So like soldering, you want to get the surface up to temperature before you apply the filler rod. So as soon as this all starts to turn red, we're going to be in the game. The thing I don't want to do is get that, see how the sheet metal's already turning red? You don't want to get that too red. It will melt away quicker than the brass. The brass really holds heat well. So see, now we're getting into that realm right there. We're just about ready for action. We're going to get it a little bit hotter. Then we're going to put that there with the flux. We're going to start to work it. And we'll know we're at temperature once that brass starts. See, the brass just went away. Now we're there. Cool. Let that settle. We'll do the other side. And you don't want to touch it. Trust me. Trust me.
I don't plan on it.
We're going Gonna get that nice and hot. And as soon as the brass and the rod turns liquid, you move on. Set it into place. See, it's not like welding. It's definitely an older process than electric arc welding. But in the art foundry, we use this a lot because we brazed dissimilar metals together all the time. Copper to steel to bronze, etc. So that is liquid tight right now. So while it's still a little bit hot, I'm going to put something in there and just that shift it over a little bit with the heat. So you see what do I want to do that? Yeah, there it is right there. Boom. I was worried about warping this so that the cap wouldn't fit. So it's metal again. There's no so what I'm concerned about is that spot right there. See that black? Mm-hmm. And then come back and heat it again because you want that perfect ring of brass around there. I'm going to warm that back up. Let's try to work that out. And there's plenty of flux on there at this point, so I may or may not have to use this rod again. It might just close up. Let's watch. See, I'm keeping the heat on this part because it's thicker. We don't want to burn that. See, now it's starting to go. Yeah, I'm just going to touch it with a little bit of flux and brass. Right there. That's done. And do the same here. Again, this is galvanized, so it's going to make a little bit of yuck, but we got our fan right above us, and I'm going to do the same. Now we're dealing with very thin metal. Going to be dicey. I might even melt that to nothing. Let's see if this is steel. Might be one of those aluminum kits. All right, now we're going for a pretty low flame. And to get the material in there without melting is the challenge. That's always one of those things. This is a kind of an odd angle now, but once this is fixed, I'm going to warm it up and just pull it back and down, so it's just a nice outlet. One of the main challenges being here is the thickness of the brazing rod. This is 1/8 inch rod. It's thicker than both of the materials we're using. So while I was paying attention with the heat to that very thick brass fitting, now it's a dance between the heat of the filler rod and the thickness of the steel tank. The drama. So now I'm going to put this right there. I'm going to focus the heat on the filler rod. I'm going to get that flux to come in, because this steel is going to heat up really quick. I'm going to try to drop the bronze. See, the brass, is already there. Now we're just going to try to get it to be friends. It might not. There it goes, see? Done, done. See how hot that tube got? We're putting our heat on the wrong surface. There it goes. There it goes. And there's a weld bead where I'm working now, so that's a little bit thicker. But again, I don't want that steel to get too crazy hot. Okay. There it is. See, it just fell right in. Now we're going to have to work the underside. It's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. And if you do try this, you're going to find out when you melt that little filler tube off how frustrating it could be. I've only been doing this since 1997, so what do I know? There it goes. Cool. Now we're going to get everything nice to see the little black dot right there. Mm-hmm. Same thing as before. We're going to go in, try to get that to close up. There it is. Cool. There's a little spot missing under here. Yep, there it goes. Cool. That's it. Yeah, totally. So now we're going to get this whole thing really red right here. And we don't want to kink this at this late end of the game. We don't want to put a crimp in this and have like fuel not, what do I do? Just going to grab this, pull it down, oh so gently. Just broke it, look.
It broke?
Look, see the hole in it?
Uh-oh.
Yep. Told you it was going to be an adventure. So now how do we seal this without closing the tube? We might close the tube, let's see. We might ruin the whole thing. Boom. One more. Oh, we got it. There it is. It's closed. Just hit it once more for a little reinforcement. So what I'm trying to avoid is the brass falling in that tube and closing it. There it is. There's only one way to find out if it worked. Let's fill that tank with water. You know, I actually don't want to do that because we want to seal the inside of this tank. Let me get my glasses. I can't see. No, we sealed it. Just gonna put air through here, see if I can feel it coming out. Worked.
Yay.
Cool. We'll just air this out, get it cool. Yeah, it's interesting how that thing cracked like that. Don't want that happening again. Little wire brush on this to clean it up and almost off to the finish. That's pretty much the story, just a little cleanup, trying to get the rest of that flux off of here. Trying to get the flux off the gas hole. We're good. Cool. So that's that. We'll just plug this back on the machine. Now that this is loose enough to put this cap on. And we're kind of just about off to the finish. It's hot. And over here at the end, we're going to have a nice little carriage bolt. So, see, that's all I was getting at with the gas line. Wherever that carburetor ends up, we'll just have this little stub, nice little fuel filter, exposed, gas cap. Uh-oh, did I warp it? Cool. Yeah, a little discreet operation. So pretty much everything is in place. I think we're just going to finish it up. We said the last one was the last one, but we might have another one. I just thought it was interesting to show this. So how do you feel about that?
I thought it was really fascinating.
Thank you. So we're going to do another video today. Stay tuned.